Most people don't realize how easy the process of teaching reading actually is. Once children know their letters and sounds, you can easily teach your own child to read, whether you are homeschooling or whether you are sending your child to school. If you can just remember a few key principles, you can teach your child how to read without buying an expensive program. You can even teach your child to read before he or she goes to school. It takes time to learn the letters and sounds, and if your child does not yet know them, then take plenty of time and don't rush, because your child cannot learn to read until he or she knows what sound each letter stands for. Once your child is able to identify sounds and seems to be comfortable with this skill, then and only then is your child ready for the next step, learning to read. So take all the time you need for pre-reading before you start teaching your child how to read. At this point, your child is now ready to learn how to read. This is a simple system, and you basically just need to make a list of words with 3 letters in them, and that's all you have to do. I'll show you how to do it in sort of a logical order, and we'll start with short A words. If your child is successful up to this point, you are ready to move on to the next short vowel, probably short I or short O. So once they can sound out the beginnings of words that begin with short A and the ends of words that begin with short A, then we can go on to a new list. But when we do the next vowel, we will do the same thing. I picked I. We'll take the short vowel I and make a new list of 3-letter words, changing only the beginning letter. And we'll go through the same process. I picked I just because I could think of a lot of words. So for example, we'll do it words, it. Here's the first one I thought of. Bit, bit. Now this may be hard for them at first because they may think all words are a words. But now we have some I words. Fit, hit, kit, lit, pit, sit, wit, a lot of it words. Continue through the same process of making lists of words with short I. So here are some examples. You could have ib words, and I wrote a few. Bib, crib. Now, this one again has 2 sounds, so you can help your child with this. Fib, rib, etc. Id words, and again, each one of these lines is its own list. So you'll write them not all together so that your child is not confused. Id words, bid, did, kid, hid, etc. Ig words, big, dig, fig. M words, I could think of some, dim, him, kim, and so forth. Once your child has practiced changing the initial sounds in short I words, repeat this process with final sounds. And again, you should be taking your time, doing this over a period of several days. The younger the child, the longer it will take, the more practice they will probably need. And children are all different, and they're all ready at different times. Here's an example of changing the final sound. So I picked B, and now we're going to change the ends of the words. And maybe this will be easier because your child has done it with A, and at this point they're getting the hang of it. Bib, bid, big, bill. You may need to explain why there are 2 L's. Bin, etc. And then I picked some fi words. Fib, fig, fill, fin, fit, fish. Oh, here's an SH. So you may need to explain to your child that SH says sh, and then you can do all of those sh words. HI, hi, so we can go through hid, him, hip, hit, hill, etc., and so forth. So we're done with I. We did the same process with short I as we did for short A, and I've moved on with short O. At this point, you probably know how to do it, and I picked short O just because there are lots of words. Repeat the process for short O before changing the vowel in the middle. So we're going to change the initial sound. So, for example, I picked ob words. And help make sure your child knows that O says aw. Bob, cob, mob, rob, sob. And then I made a list of op words. Cop, hop, mop, pop, and ought words. Whatever I could think of. Cot, dot, hot, not, pot. What are we changing? We're changing the beginning sound. Now we're going to change the final sound. Not all necessarily in the same day, but that's the next step. So I picked daw words, and we're changing the final sound. So I thought of dog, doll, dawn, dot, and then I thought of some fa words. At this point, just pick whatever you can think of words. I could only think of fog and fox, and then I thought of some ha words, hog, hop, hot, and so forth. My suggestion is turn this into a game. For example, you could write each word after you make a list at the beginning. Instead of a list, you could write each word on a card or on a piece of construction paper and have your child walk along a word path. Your child could read the word and then step on the card. Read the next word and step on the card. Some children would think that is a list. Now we're going to move on to mixed vowels. At this point, your child has been focusing on beginning and ending sounds, but if you have been mixing up words or lists, your child is probably thinking about the middle vowel as well. So at this point, you can make a list in which you change the vowel in the middle. You can go ahead and make lists for the other two vowels as well, E and U, or you can just add them in at this point. So for example, I made a list where I changed only the beginning vowel. The first consonant or sound is b in each word, and the final sound is d. So my list has bad, bid, bed, bud. And then I made a list of words with the beginning sound a b and the final sound a t, and I changed the vowel in the middle. Bat, bit, bet, but. My next list only has two words because that's all I could think of. Ran, run. Notice that only the middle is different. And here's another list. Pan, pin, pen, pun. New list. This is just whatever I could think of. Sat, sit, set. Tan, tin, 10. You get the idea, and so forth. So mix the words up, write them on cards, and continue to practice. It's very important that once your child is sounding out the beginning, the middle, and the end of words, remember at this point your child is reading. And that's exciting because that's what reading is, sounding at the beginning, the middle, and the end of words. You don't need to worry about multiple syllables. At that point, that's a little bit later skill, but your child will do that much more easily. It's also important to remember to practice, 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 but go at your child's pace, play games, make up sentences, and make a construction paper path with your sentences. I used to write one sentence on a piece of construction paper and then write another sentence on another piece, so I would have a stack of sentences, and then the child would read the sentence, step on the paper, maybe get it. There might be treats scattered around. So here are some examples of sentences that your child could read and that you could write on cards, and you can make up your own. Just take your list of words and make up sentences with a few other words such as a, the, on, in. So here's the first sentence. The cat can sit on the mat. A big bag can fit in a pan. A fat frog, you might have to help them with a f and the, because there are actually 4 sounds in this word. A fat frog can sit on a log. The dog will sit in the fog. The man can hop. There is a set of books that follow this principle called Bob Books, which you can order from Amazon. Each book will tell you what sounds the child is required to know to read all of the words in the book. So there are usually 3 or 4 sounds or letters that they need to know. And then this is what they do. They write sentences like this. Like they might have a sentence, Sam sat. So the child in the first book may only need to know the a sound, the s, t, and the m, and can read all of the pages in the book, and each page is just got 1 sentence. But at the end of the book, the child has read a book, and it gives the child a great sense of accomplishment. So thank you. Go ahead and take your time, work your way through this presentation, and I would love to hear about any stories of those of you who have taught your child to read. Thank you.